Hello, everyone. Ozzy? Hey!
Привет,
We
Ksenia.
made it happen!
And the funniest thing, we both decided to wear white.
Don't tell me about synchronicity, okay? When I pulled out my phone one day and it was green color, you told me that your phone is green color too.
Yes, you remember?
Of
This is
course.
awesome. This is awesome. Okay, let me
I'm
see.
so happy to have you here tonight. It's
Yes.
Friday night. I hope
Thank you.
everybody's doing well. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I'm waving everyone. Wave, wave. Hi. Hi, guys.
Here we go. A lot of people are joining already.
Yeah. Well, Ozzy, I wanted to do this for such a long time.
Well, I'm happy to be part of it.
Yes. And you know what? I was trying to prepare my speech for tonight, and I couldn't put my thoughts together because we have such a long history together. We
Yes.
have such a long journey that we've been together on for so many years. And we share lots of similar ideas. And I felt like it was a time to share with people.
Absolutely.
And what makes us be passionate about what we do. And, you know, everything else. I have some notes here, so I hope I don't miss it. You know, we only have 1 hour to do this. So,
Well,
yeah,
I'm so happy,
everyone.
Ksenia, and as we were joking before, when you and me, because of that connectability, because of that similar mindset, when you and me, we start talking about the things, it expands to so many different universes that
People don't want to know. When I lift weights with you, the discussions that we have about the soul, about faith, about everything that comes to mind and help us grow, which is wonderful.
it is
So,
beautiful.
yeah, so what I wanted to, my intention, I guess, for tonight was really to raise awareness about what we do and how we do it and why it matters.
Excellent. I love it.
Me as a specialist in emotional intelligence, and you are as a specialist in physical health and fitness, I think that combination actually grows together. And tonight I want to debunk the myth what emotional intelligence is, because a lot of times people think that it's just about recognizing your own emotions and recognizing emotions of other people, making connections, but there's so much more. And I feel that physical health is a huge part of it, because if you take that self-awareness as a part of the emotional intelligence, right? The self-awareness is all about knowing your goals, knowing what drives you, knowing what your passions are, knowing what your motivation is. And especially now, talking about motivation, you know, coming closer to New Year's resolution, a lot
Yes.
of people constantly promising themselves to finally start working out, to finally taking care of their health. And then most of people just fall through the cracks by March.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And I was thinking about this for so long, why that happens to people. Where does that motivation come from? So, and what came to my mind is that physical health, you know, the health, it's not just about having a beautiful body in the summer on the beach, right? The physical health is all about having the energy and having the resources to do what matters in life.
Absolutely.
So when it's Sunday and 7 o'clock in the morning and it's raining, yes, the thought, it crosses your mind, why do I need to get out of bed and come work out? But you have, you know, that bigger reason why you're doing it, why you need your job, what it's for. You know, the motivation kicks in once you get out and go work out, right? I'm sure
Absolutely.
a lot of people.
It's amazing, Ksenia, how the beautiful correlation between the two of the physical body and the intellectual, spiritual side, however you want to interpret it, how dependable they are to each other, how correlate they are with each other, how facilitate how one improvement facilitates the other one. It's amazing, because in order to make the body strong, you need to keep a strong mindset and an understanding of who you are emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, as well as in order to improve in your intellectual side, the help of the physical health state, a good physical health state, always facilitates your intellectual improvements, because now you're able to discover more. There are less and less limits around you that could slow you down, could distract you, could affect you on an emotional state where it could lead you in different directions. And when you're able to keep both aspects of your life, such as spiritual, intellectual, or emotional, going with your physical state, then the magic happens. I always say, I wish I could let everyone taste the feeling of being in balance, in sync with your emotional state and a physical state. And as an athlete, as a professional fighter who deals with a sport where you can get hurt from the trained person in front of you, who's allowed to strike you and fight you and resist you as hard as he can, emotionally, it's insane. Somebody's allowed to hit you in the face. So now it doesn't matter how much your body is trained, doesn't matter how much training you get on your muscles, those sprint and jump and all the technique in the world, you can know every single move. But if the emotions are not there, if the self-awareness is not fulfilled, where you don't know who you are intellectually, emotionally, all that physical state goes to waste.
It will not matter.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
I
not.
was actually observing, I remember at one point I caught myself that when I go work out with you, and I'm among a lot of people, so I observe how people work out, and you can actually pinpoint the way they work out, the weights that they pick, how they challenge themselves. It actually resonates with how they live their lives. When they challenge themselves enough. Sometimes I might challenge myself too much, and then I feel like I cannot do certain things. But it's like an amazing lesson. Okay, I overestimate myself. I can fix it right now. So I remember that was like an insightful moment for me when I realized that the way people are on the floor in the gym, the way they behave, that is the same way they probably behave in life.
Exactly.
Right? I remember it was like an amazing insight for me. And I said, you know what? Just by watching people, how they work out, I can make predictions how far they will or will not go in life.
And thank you. It is so true. So many times I observe that the thoughts can become a result of your actions as much as the opposite. Your actions can become the result of your thoughts. And a lot of times during a physical activity, especially when we reach the point of fatigueness, we slowly concentrate only on the survival skills, and little by little we forget about how do we look, who's watching us, what are
you just want to survive, right?
Yeah, you just want to, that present moment. It brings you, that fatigueness brings you to that specific present moment where that's it, not too much games going on anymore. Now you show your true self. Slowly you start opening who you are. And that's why you observed very well where when people work with the weights, with the resistance and life in general, because they tend to hold back and being afraid to show that true self, they pick up lighter weights, they would choose some other exercise over the other ones, they will find certain ways to move around, and at the same time, from the other side, just by not knowing who they are, they're not able to go heavier. They want to go heavier, but they don't know their limits. Why? Because of the never spending time out of the comfort zone and not being okay.
Fear, right? It's like the fear blocks you. I can't pick up a heavier weight, but what if you do?
Exactly.
Okay, your body might not be able to handle it well yet, but you would never know unless you try it. And it's amazing how the fitness floor can actually become a coaching floor for you if you're aware enough of yourself to actually learn about yourself during those moments.
So true, so true. I say so much to my athlete. I have my management company where athletes from Russia, from old republics of USSR, they're reaching out to me. They're trying to try themselves in United States to improve in their mixed martial arts careers. And when they reach out to me and they send me a highlights of their fights and stuff like that, I'm like, I don't want to see the highlights. I don't want to see your best moments.
Right.
Show me your worst moments.
We have Instagram for that, to see the best moments of your life.
Yeah, I don't need to see your best moments. I don't need to see your Instagram. Show me your training. Show me your last round of 5-round match. Show me who you are when the fatigue creeps in, when the doubts creep in, and when you are strategically in the corner where you've used all your tools, but suddenly nothing worked. What is your next step? You understand? And that's why
how are you gonna survive, right? How are you going to survive that moment?
Yes. And that shows the character, because as we always say, Ksenia, how important the emotional intelligence is in my job and my career. How important for people not just to work their body, to eat healthy, but emotionally also improve and be at that state of being able to work over the adversities, being able to remain calm during certain stressful situations, to be able to calculate and solve problems under the pressure. And all that comes only by training and learning about emotional
learning about self. Yeah, you know what, it's interesting you mentioned the word character, because for me, being able to exercise, it's really not about having your body strong, which is wonderful too.
Absolutely.
But it's also about building character, because if you want to achieve something in life, whatever you set your mind for, you need to have a character. And a lot of times people fall into the trap thinking that, I'm not motivated enough, I'm not inspired enough. But in reality, that's never gonna come if you sleep at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday.
Thank you. Yes. And
so this is how you build your character, that if you really, really want something, yes, you will have to sacrifice certain things, but it's for the better. And this is how you build character. So I think sports is one of these things, because, we can speak about, spiritual health and mental health all we want, and that's something we cannot touch, we cannot, feel. And when it comes to your body, and let's say I work with people, say, not motivated enough, I want to achieve X, Y, and Z. And when I ask them, do you work out? Sometimes people don't understand, what does it have to do with motivation and things that, and I say, start with your body. Forget about mental and spiritual for now. Just start with what you can actually feel, so it feels real to you. Right? And I know, even for myself, I started working out with you, 6 years ago. I remember I couldn't see results for months.
Yes.
I started getting discouraged and like, wait a second, this cannot be. I'm on the field 4 times a week, and it's been half a year. Oh, my cat came. And it's been half a year. Yeah, and I'm not seeing any results. And I remember you said, Ksenia, just stick with it. Don't give up. Because it takes a while to get over that hump where you actually start feeling better, seeing progress, changing. And I think that's exactly what happens with New Year's resolution. People give up too early.
Too early. Yep. I will start with one thing. I made a mental notes as you were talking right now. When you say, when people come to you for improving their emotional intelligence, how you first think asking them about physical health and physical intelligence. It's amazing how when people come to me and they talk about physical health, what I ask them about their emotional health. Isn't
It's
that
all
amazing?
interconnected.
It's completely interconnected. It's
You
you
cannot
cannot
separate.
choose. No way. Impossible.
You can't
Impossible.
separate one from
Yep.
another. It all comes together.
And
So
a lot of times when I hear the question, which one is more important or which one I should improve
what
first,
should I
you know,
start with?
yeah,
For that matter.
both simultaneously, because as you're working on one, you're constantly working on the other, and vice versa. It is impossible to separate them, and it almost doesn't make sense to separate them. Why would you? Why would you limit yourself?
Well,
That's my
exactly.
perspective.
So I guess the advice that I can give to anyone who is listening to us today and whoever will be watching this video later on during the week and in the future is that if you really want to set certain goals in life, and it's not even about having a beautiful body, right? You want to have certain goals. It's about the character that will help you reach those goals. It
Yep.
is not about lack of motivation or lack of inspiration or lack of, good teachers around. There are wonderful teachers around. You just have to look. And it is a matter of building a character, and that character will help you reach what you want. But to build the character, start here on the floor with what you can actually, feel. How you actually
Exactly.
pick up the weights, whether you're challenging or not, right? How you give up in the end or actually go and you lose your mind. There's some moments when I work out, I'm about to stop.
Yeah. Yes,
I'm sitting on the bench and I think I cannot do this anymore. And I
so
remember
true.
you always tell me, Ksenia, just breathe through it. It means you're your max. It
Yes.
doesn't mean you're weak. It means you really push yourself to the maximum. But then that maximum actually
Improves.
grows
Yes, yes, yes.
the
I always,
year,
yeah,
right?
it's so amazing how, just like you say, Ksenia, most of the people give up with their goals of the new resolutions too soon. Some ask, oh my God, I lost motivation, I lost this, I lost that. And as you said, I will facilitate your words. It's about building the character. Without strong character, the body is tend to naturally cheat and give up to get away from stress. And what keeps the body moving and going forward is the character. Now people say, well, I have a hard time building the character. Bring things to the bottom line. Stop flying in the sky. Stop imagining too many things. Bring things to the bottom line and have small goals in hand. And one of the things, when you reach that painful state, when you reach the pass through the comfort zone and you start experiencing a new place of your mind where your emotions never went before, get happy because you worked hard to get there. That means you climbed first a little mountain. It's the same way how physically when we climb high altitude, what happens to us? We lose air. Why? Because the new altitude oxygen levels are different than when you were before. And what happens is you're under a new stress. But does that last? No. What happens to us? We get used to it.
Yeah, you adjust to it, right?
You adjust. And that process, one of the most amazing physiological and psychological processes in the body, it's called SAID, a process of SAID, specific adaptations to imposed demands. This goes to a physical, this
Oh, I
goes
love
to
this. What is
intellectual.
the eight you said? S-A?
SAID,
ID,
specific
SAID.
adaptations to impose demands. Short, SAID. And it's amazing. The most important process in our lifestyles, because it's not just physical anymore. It's emotional, spiritual, intellectual, and physical all combined, because that's how we evolve. That's how we survive. The brain works in a way where it won't make any changes in our body, and it will always create a boogeyman in a closet for us not to go in the unknown areas.
It is scary. I mean, don't get
Of
me
course.
wrong, right? It is scary. We don't know what's out there. But then I think, okay, then you live your entire life without challenging yourself. Then it's not even fun.
No more. No
Constantly
more.
be in the
Yes.
box, in the comfort zone, as we say it, right? It's
So
like,
many, yep. So many people live their life by being preserved. A lot of times, so many people may not like this, but I will say it. because right now we speak in all out, open heart with pure intentions, where a lot of people's lives go in a certain way because of the too much extra preservation from parents. Parents preserve the child from adversity, preserve the child from challenges, and doesn't allow them to
It's like
leave
a
the comfort
safety.
zone.
It's like a psychological safety mechanism,
Yes,
right?
yes. And what happened is a lot of people, they grow up with it and they live controlling themselves in the boundaries of the comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point of their lives, they search for something and they cannot find. Unfortunately, a lot of people go astray from that point. They start going to the dark places. But a lot of people just sparks in them and they start doing amazing things at the age of 45, at the age of 50. I have clients who came to me physically. They were so not active. They never concentrate on the physical side. Their parents always emphasize the intellectual side, academic side,
Study,
academic
study,
side,
study.
study,
Yes.
study, study, study. And they grew up, they have families, but they still on that mindset. And then I have guys and girls, ladies, starting with me at the age of 52, 53, and they're discovering things in them physically, doing activities that they didn't know about themselves before. Like, oh my God, by doing physical activity, I'm discovering new
Things
intellectual
about
lens.
self, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Through your
And
body.
yes, and they get so happy. And overall, the quality of their life, the healthy quality of their life improves.
Mm-hmm.
Improves it because now the brain goes to the new places, the unlimited power of our mind. Why would we put handcuffs on it? Why would we allow it to grow? And the
Beautiful
only
metaphor that you use. You're putting handcuffs on your mind.
yes, yes, and that's actually what we do. And if we look on it from the physiological point of view, the brain actually puts certain blocks in the circuits of the brain. It blocks. It's almost like a handcuff. It closes the path, doesn't pass there, and the
Mhm.
only way to pass through is to create either eustress or de-stress.
Mhm.
Eustress is the healthy stress, the result of which is positive. De-stress is something when we either overdid it or we received this unhealthy stress that result of which was damaging
Mhm.
ourselves either intellectually, psychologically, or physically. There's a very fine line. Unfortunately, in the United States, until I studied and I stumbled upon it, I never heard of a separation of de-stress and eustress. It was always one word: stress, stress,
Uh-huh.
stress. And every time we hear word stress, it always
It's
connects
like it
to a
has this
negativity.
negative connotation, right?
Yes, yes,
Like
it
stress
always
is
has.
bad.
Exactly, exactly. And when I started studying and understanding the psychology behind the word stress, I was fascinated. I said, "Oh my God, without most of the EU stress, we wouldn't develop any kind of protective mechanisms in our mobility. We
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't protect any kind of protective mechanism in our psychology to know when to say certain things, when not to say certain things. And we wouldn't get stronger physically if we wouldn't receive EU stress. So now, is the stress bad? Mm,
It
this
depends
sounds
what
very
you
odd
do
now.
with it, right? It really depends what
Exactly.
you do with it.
I use another analogy for stress and for so many things actually. An analogy of a knife. It also comes from me because of my upbringing, and I use the analogy of knife. But I believe you can use some different. If I bring this up to you, probably you'll find a way to use a different analogies. But I use the analogy of knife. How do I use the analogy of knife? There are two analogies. I use two different scenarios, subjects. First part is how the knife is made. I use that. We'll talk about it maybe a little bit later. And the second part, when you have the actual knife, is the knife evil or good? Well, it all
Right. That's a good
depends.
question. Uh-huh.
It all depends of whom holds the knife. The knife can be used to save a life or to end a life. It sounds very harsh, but this is the straight truth. It all goes back to the ability and the intelligence and the intentions of the one who holds the knife. So, if I use the knife as a metaphor for our intelligence, for our thoughts, we hold them. It all depends on us. It all depends on that stress. Is the stress good or bad? Well, the way how you use it. If it's used in the proper way, it's so good for you. But there's always a choice of using it in a negative way as well. So when people approach the stress and keep calling it, it's negative, it's negative, it's negative, they chose it to make it negative. But if you learn to tame the stress and control it and use it towards your advantage to make you stronger, then it's a very positive thing to undergo that resistance, that stress that makes you stronger. And the other part of using a knife as an analogy, I started a little bit deeper. What is the knife? It's a metal, right? It's a sharp tool.
Sharp object, yes.
Sharp object. Well, where did it begin? The knife was some rock and some mountains, same with the dirt, with everybody under the sky, the same. It wasn't special, it wasn't anything. There were so many rocks like it, smaller than it, bigger than it, more massive than it, better looking. There are so many different ones, right?
Yeah.
It's us at the beginning. What happened was somebody came with a sledgehammer and hit the rock to separate it from the crowd. The rock was, oh my God, it was so scared. It go, oh my God, I'm losing my crowd. I'm not in the same level as everybody. Somebody's taking me somewhere. They took us somewhere and they put so much pressure with water, hose of power wash to take all the dirt out. Now then the rock is naked. It lost all its dirt and stuff on it. It feels vulnerable. It feels vulnerable. Now it's in the new territory. It underwent a stress. It's separated from its tribe. Correct? Isn't that happens when we start studying, when we choose a certain career, we separate ourselves from others. It feels scary. And what all the other rocks said when this rock was taken out, they say, you stupid, you're supposed to stay here. Where are you going? And everybody said, that's it, he's gone.
I actually have a really great point to make to exactly what you're saying right now. When it comes to working out and, you know, reaching our life goals, whatever they are, it really matters who you surround yourself with.
Thank you. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because if you know, they say that you become an average of the 5 people you most hang out with.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, I made that list of most of the people I hang out with, and I said, you know what? I will never grow. And it's not because people are bad. They're wonderful friends. They're, you know, wonderful that care. But you really need to have somebody in your life who can push you, who can actually,
exactly,
you know, pick you for that matter. And on the way to grow. So when I say coaches help grow other coaches, it is actually true because, you know, you became one of those people that actually kicked me. And you know what? It can be better. It wasn't bad. It wasn't
Absolutely.
bad, right? It wasn't harmful.
Yeah.
But so the point is, and I'm talking to people that are watching us tonight and people that will be listening to our video later, is that if you really, really want to get out of your comfort zone, grow, you have to find the teachers that will challenge you. That
is super
will stay
important.
with you along the way, that will actually hold your hand. You might be suffering for a while, and you might feel really, really lonely because none of your surroundings actually support you in what you do, which is fine. Which is fine. Doesn't make you feel bad, right? But
Absolutely.
you want to step out, and I feel like, you know, 6 years ago or 7 years ago when I met you, you became that person. I'm the one who constantly challenges and pushes people out of, you know, their comfort zone to get what they want, because I feel like there is a reason why we're here. Why stay average? Why stay mediocre?
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you. If it feels good the moment you start believing that, you have reason. You have reason to be here. Every single day counts. When you start understanding that every single day counts, your reasons grow. There's some kind of taste of life you have, and you enjoy going through that pressure of being that rock who was separated, who was brought down, washed, got naked from the. And what happens next to the rock? The story doesn't end there. It starts getting beating. It hammers to get rid of the weak spots of the rock. Correct?
I love the metaphor.
Yeah.
I love the metaphor.
It gets beating. It goes through the beating. It becomes smaller, but more dense, more clean. What happens to it next? They put it under heavy temperature of fire.
they melt it, they take it out, they hit it, they fold it, they hit it, and what do they do next? They put it in the ice water, and what happens?
Poor
They do it. Yes, it goes over and over and over again until that rock becomes with shape, with a specific shape, until that rock, after all that folding, was adapting to the beating and stress of fire and ice, became so solid. And now look at the interesting thing. Everything started with a heavy beating, right? When the rock became shape, that steel, now there's no more beating. What happens? Polishing, Ksenia, polishing.
Polish.
Now it's polished until it becomes shiny, until it becomes sharp, and until it becomes something very vulnerable. I'm sorry, very important, valuable tool to be used. And that when I say to build a character, for the character to become that valuable tool to be used, you have to undergo the similar stress and similar process of that rock who underwent the separation from the mountain, beating, hot, cold, again folded, and repeat until it became that tool. I like to use this with my athletes. I like to help them to understand that's what you got to do, and that's why most of the people.
Bottom line, right? That's the bottom line.
The bottom line.
Resolutions. We always want to achieve something. We give up along the way. But if you actually switch it around and you realize that you have wonderful teachers alongside who can take your hand, you will survive all the beating. You just don't give up, just stay with it. And actually, that's part of the emotional intelligence as well, to be able to stay, not necessarily with your emotions, right? When you're sad, you just stay, but also stay with the change. And sometimes changes are pleasant, but if you stay with them, it will become a very useful object. So using
exactly. And one of the biggest things that I experienced in my life, all these stuff, they happen in a way where you need your GPS, because you're going in a new territory. Every time I travel a lot, as you know, and a lot of people knows, and every time I go to the new territory, what do? First, I research. Second, when I'm there, in order to travel well, I always have my GPS, offline GPS connected. And that GPS can be a metaphor or analogy for a teacher, for a guidance. Whenever we go into the new territory of emotional intelligence, physical intelligence, what do we need? Guidance. And when you do have that guidance, believe it or not, the confidence in moving towards the way is increased, because when you're with GPS, you don't question too much GPS. GPS turn right. You're like,
because you know it knows. But you know what? It makes me think of tribes, right? In the old days, that in order for the tribe to become better and whatever they needed to become better, they actually had to have teachers. They had to look what other people already achieved, follow them, and then flip it and become better. So there's no way. I mean, we're biologically wired, first of all, to be with other people. And second of all, we really need each other. So when coaches need coaches, there are these people like everybody, right? Even though we teach others, we're still teaching each other as well. So and every time, in the beginning of every year, this is the workshop, this is the training that I've been running for the past 7 years. It used to be face-to-face. Now that times I had to adjust it to the virtual. And sometimes people say, well, it's too much of a commitment. It's 4 evenings a month. Listen, it's 4 evenings, 65 evenings you have. That's to turn your life around.
Absolutely.
It's a different matter of perspective. So I'm highly encouraging. The reason why we're here today, it's not just to philosophize and introduce people to what we believe in, but also switch their perspective, so they look into training from a different angle. Yes, training is hard, but it's amazing. Yes, workshops to reach the goals are sort of, you have to be committed to them, but it will change you. It will move you. It's a matter of perspective. And then the question that I always ask, so you're not starting to work out, you're not starting to change anything in your life, this is how it's going to end. Is this
Oh, yeah.
what you really want in the end?
That's the bottom line, Ksenia. That's
Right?
the bottom
Is
line.
this
It's
what
the
you
sad truth. A lot of people, they go into the bubble and they don't want to think about, hey, this is, if you don't move, you're gonna drown. You gotta move. You gotta swim, baby. I love when we were spending time during our private sessions, group sessions, and every time we have a conversations like this, that every time I speak to you, you give me, we speak about the same stuff.
Yes.
We speak in the same language. We agree with everything. And yet, somehow, I always find new perspectives from you by talking to you. And because of your lifestyle, because of a different background, there's so many different reasons. You understand? It allows, by communicating, it allows me to broaden my specter of vision.
Consciousness, you know, I
Yes.
was afraid to use that word, but in reality, I mean, consciousness, it's what's right here.
Mm-hmm.
So it just broadens up our horizons the way we reason.
Exactly, and it helps a lot. So we come to conclusion that, just like you said, we're tribal lifestyle creatures.
Yes.
We're supposed to communicate.
Fortunately or unfortunately, that's just how we are wired.
Yes, so many may not like it, but our power is in a tribal lifestyle, meaning communication, challenging one another in a healthy way.
You know how you always do it when we come for the group classes? You always say, find somebody who you can challenge.
Yes.
Or somebody who can challenge you.
You. That's it.
Right?
Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah.
Isn't it beautiful? And that also shows how important for us to improve in something. We need a guidance. Every art has its master. Every art has its master. And when you want the art, to whom you go? To the master of that art, to the one who owns that art. I always say, when people say, oh, you know, I learned fighting, I have young kids coming, oh, I study fighting through YouTube. I'm like, oh, great. How about if I give you right now a book of math, a 5th grade math? I bet you won't be able to go even through the book without a guidance. A 5th grade math, you'll have a hard time understanding everything, right? So even though all the books are out there, all the guidances are out there, and the technology,
you can self-teach yourself. We think we can self-teach ourselves. You know what? I was just recently thinking about the artificial intelligence, right? That's slowly kicking into our generation. But no matter how huge it becomes, for as long as human beings are alive, we need teachers, we need to communicate with one another, learn from one another. This is the only way to grow.
The only way.
There's no other way. Really, you know, we think so highly of ourselves, saying, oh, I can do this all by myself. We can't.
You cannot. You cannot. We're designed.
Really
and even if you think about it, we can bring thousands and thousands of different examples and proofs of why we need guidance, why we need communication, why we need support, why we need challenge. And one of the simple things which fascinates me a lot is physiology of our body. How come none of us, without using technology or men-built subjects, can see our own back of the head?
Yeah.
None of us can look into our own eyes. How come, Ksenia? Think about it. Our physiology is designed to have somebody to look into the eyes to exchange. Well, how come they say eyes are the mirrors of the soul? To exchange those mirrors, to see how much similarities we have.
And we absolutely do. And you know what's it's interesting, you know, I'm studying a lot of, you know, philosophy and psychology, and study a lot of, you know, psychology and psychological. And the more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know.
Oh,
how much I still don't know. I always thought, you know, a couple of more books and I will know it for sure. But 20 books later, and actually, you know, what's amazing, and one of the best memories that I think we have to get, those pictures that we took in the gym, reading books. Because
Oh
when my
my
children were
God.
little, and I would
Yes.
bring them to classes, during those breaks, I would sit and read a book because I didn't want to waste my time. We would always share what we read together. And it's amazing. It brings, such wonderful memories to me.
I think that that's amazing. I think
Right.
that's
But
amazing.
then I realized you can read as much as you want. You will first of all realize there's so much you still don't know. And if you don't apply the knowledge that you get through the books, that you get through YouTube and, online universities, whatever else, it's not going to matter. We're
Definitely.
bombarded. We're really bombarded with a lot of information, and we can be as smart as we want. But if we don't use it, it becomes obsolete.
Yeah.
Then why
Yeah.
are you wasting your time reading that? Why do you really need to know if you're not planning to use it? So when I teach emotional intelligence, to develop emotional intelligence skills in corporations, private clients, and groups, I always say I would never be able to do it if I didn't try it.
So true.
How
So
would I
true.
know that this specific skill that I'm teaching actually makes a difference in people's lives? I first
Yeah.
try it myself. Just like you, when you give certain exercise to people, you first need to
They
know
all went through me.
whether you
Yes.
screw up your back or not,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes. So true. So true. It's amazing. And uh, the part of putting in action what you read, and as you read and as you put whatever you read into action, and realizing how much, as more you learn, how much little you know, it's fascinating. So many times I would start the book, and when I close the book, I would be like, oh my God, I'm back to square one. I don't know nothing. I don't know
Well,
nothing.
remember, if you ever read, Greek philosophy, because I have a
Oh, I
special
grew up on it.
philosophy.
Yes, I love it.
Remember what Socrates said? He actually, Greek philosophy. I mean, how many years, how many centuries ago it goes into?
You stole it from me. I was waiting for the moment to say it,
Yes,
but you stole it. You say
yes.
it.
And
You
you
say.
know
I
what
know
he
exactly what
said?
you're gonna say.
What I know for sure is that I don't know anything. He actually said, what I know for sure is that I know nothing.
I know
And for
nothing.
many years, I couldn't understand what he's saying. What do you mean you don't know anything? You know
Mm-hmm.
a lot. And only now, through the life experience and, being and working with people and mentoring people, I realize what it really means.
And do you remember what the part of it when he said that, and um, when I believe it's the older Spartan women,
Mm-hmm.
because during Greek time the Spartan women's, they used to be respected a lot, and they were taught reading and stuff, where as some other countries women weren't even allowed to have any
Right.
rights at that time. So women was educated in fitness during the Spartan years, and reading and intelligence, because intelligent and physically fit women would give a birth to a healthy and strong kids. Because all that passes through the DNA, it stays in the kids. So there was one lady, very intelligent lady and very respectful too. Her words were valued by men around her at that time. So she said, "Oh, Socrates, you are the smartest one of all men who lives here." And he says, "Oh, women, you're mistaken. I know nothing," he said.
Yeah.
And she said, "And that's why you're the smartest. You're the only one who realizes that," she said.
Yeah.
While everybody else saying they know things, you're the only one who's able to recognize and understand the vast, infinite ocean of knowledge that, but whatever you know nothing. And
Yeah.
that's when he first time understood from the words of this lady that, oh my God, this is a little confirmation of what I'm thinking. I'm on the right path. I'm on the right path.
I cannot believe, Ozzy, that, we're sitting here tonight on a Friday night talking about emotional intelligence and fitness. and we talk about this in philosophical terms.
Mm-hmm.
So what it makes me think is that when people really think of fitness and working out, they have this negative connotation to it, that it's hard and it's challenging, I'm about to throw up. But in reality, it's about building character. It's about building your own philosophy of life through observing your own body,
Mm-hmm.
observing what you're capable of. And that actually translates into other things you do in life. Right?
Absolutely.
From the floor,
Absolutely.
from the fitness floor, it goes, just like I said in the beginning, you know, I watch people and I realize that's probably the same behavior they exhibit in life. And I can actually pinpoint who challenges himself enough and reaches the
Mm-hmm.
goals and the ones that don't.
Absolutely. You know what other thing I noticed too, Ksenia? I have people coming to me who are very successful in the different areas of life, such as business, medicine, or something. Hustlers. They come to me to do a physical training, and they're not as advanced in their physical fitness as much as they are in their other part of lifestyle. But that lifestyle, that character translates and it's shown in their physical fitness too, because even though they're not able to do certain things, that assertiveness, that mindset of pushing to the max, being able to push through it. Failures, no emotional attachments to the failures. It's only another learning process. When you start treating failures with a certain particular perspective view, there are no limits for you anymore, because you, in your mind, you are unstoppable and you are undefeated. You cannot lose anymore. And when you don't have the fear of losing, that's it. No more limits for you. You're gonna keep going. You're gonna keep going. It's so weird, but I remember in my career, in my fighting career, the moment I let go of the fear of consequences of losing and the losing itself, where I stopped caring about the result and start focusing on what's in my hands, and in my hands was performance in the present moment. Oh my God, I was freed. I was enjoying the present moment. But what happened is, so many people, this goes to a physical fitness stress and emotional intelligence. They're afraid of the failure. They're afraid, how about if I cannot do it? How about if it's too much? How I don't want to lose in front of others. I don't want to fail, to start something and to fail on something. That fear of failing stops so many people. So sad.
That fear, but also I think we're wired for the results, and I think we're culturally conditioned to achieve certain results, and we forget about the process, the actual process that leads to the result. So when you are on the floor, or if you're going for whatever goals in life, you know, it is a challenging process. But that is your life at this moment. Just because you're not certain weight, just because you don't look the way you want to look in 5 years, doesn't mean you're failing right now. It actually means you're taking tiny, small steps. Because I know we beat ourselves up sometimes, where, you know, we cannot lift certain things, or we cannot accomplish certain things. That is a little step to get where we want to be in 5 years.
Absolutely.
Right? So
Those little steps.
passion for yourself. Yes, it's challenging. Yes, you are about to throw up, but it's the process that matters. And I was actually discussing it with my friend today. I don't really believe in happiness is the end goal. You know, the positive psychology always tells us that, oh, you know, positively, and, you know, we all want to be happy in the end. Well, in reality, that, you know, that moment of joy when, you know, when you feel happy, that's just a second of an emotion that you experience. But the progress that we make through life, that's what eventually makes us happy. When you actually self progressing, that I'm a different person a year from now comparing to what I was a year ago, that makes me really happy.
So true.
Think
So
we
true,
forget
Ksenia.
about it. We're constantly chasing that, you know, that we need to see a certain number on the scale, or we need to see a certain number in the bank account, or whatever else, forgetting that the process, for as much as it is challenging, it matters more than that number, whatever that number
So true.
is.
So true. So
And
true.
back to your point, the stress It all depends how you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Thank you. Again,
Challenge. It
perspectives.
depends how you look at it. Yes, it's hard. But you know what I hear is that, you know, people want to have certain physique. And I speak to a lot of, you know, women just because I'm a woman. And they say, well, you know, I kind of want to live wonderful life. I don't want to really challenge myself. And I say, you know what? When you're not challenging yourself, you're actually pitying yourself. That's not self-love.
No,
You're not
no,
moving forward. And when there is no progress, there is no happiness.
no
Period.
happiness. That's it. Yes, yes. The joy of achievement, the joy of progress and movement. There are so many. We can dig in deep, 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 and find so many things that facilitate your philosophy right now and your mentality. Where how come we say movement is life?
Mm-hmm.
How come? How come we say small progress is better than limbo state, being a plateau? How come in every aspect of life, in your economy, politics, relationship, plateau is never a good thing?
Yeah.
How come movement and movement forward is a great thing? Another analogy I use, this is another a very extreme analogy, and some people may emotionally be disturbed when I say this analogy. But again, hey, we throw things out there today. An analogy of person in coma.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the person in coma, laying down, doesn't do any physical activity, doesn't receive any intellectual stress of the day, doesn't work. He receives all the nutrition through the tube. He's being washed every day. He does. How come his body's decaying and dying while he's in that state of zero stress?
Yeah.
Under the medication, under the best medication, receives nutrition straight into his bloodstream. Even his stomach doesn't need to digest food. They minimize the stress and the body's decaying. How come? Well, my friends, our body's designed to go under the resistance, because resistance is what makes us strong. Resistance is what gives us a value to a yesterday
Mm-hmm.
and a purpose for tomorrow. Without that, without receiving that resistance, the purpose of tomorrow will be very dim, and the value of yesterday will be lost.
Yeah. And to your point, I think, you know, to start ending our conversation, if whoever is watching us tonight, please ask questions, we'll be able to answer. But to your point, I think, you know, we as human beings, we are designed to learn and grow.
To learn and grow every day.
Using the word plateau when you're not doing much, you're not really developing, you're kind of nowhere. And we are actually here, we're designed to learn and grow.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Mm-hmm. And if you think about it, Ksenia, being a plateau, it's actually falling back. Mm-hmm. Even in an economical point of view, if for 10 years in a row you're making the same amount of money, you're actually losing, right?
Yeah,
isn't that
that's
true?
A great analogy. Very clear analogy.
It's very clear analogy. Everybody knows. Nobody can disagree with this.
Yeah.
If for 10 years in a row you keep making the same amount of money, you're actually falling behind every year. Every year you're falling behind. That goes same for emotional intelligence and physical intelligence.
If you're not growing, you're dying. That's what I say.
Yes, thank you, thank you. And
so,
one thing,
yeah,
Ksenia,
to
thing I will
up,
say, one thing I will say, as much as we say how much the correlation of the physical and the emotional goes, and you come in as a wonderful coach from the emotional intelligence, psychological intelligence, as much as from my side as showing a lot of physical, and yet emphasizing the intellectual side, I will say this: physical has much more limits in its progress than the emotional. Emotional intelligence is something that nobody can take away from you. Physical progress, physical intelligence, physical strength can take a one little bad day, one little bad food that you ate that makes you sick, your whole physique drops. But the power of your emotional intelligence, the power of your intellect, of your willpower, will be with you at the age of 30.
Yeah.
If you do things right at the age of 50, if you do things right at the age of 90. How many times, it's one of my favorite things when I travel back home and to sit down with the elderly and speak to them and hear how much less words they say and how much more powerful their words are. It is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this
The
man,
wisdom,
or
right? It's
yeah,
that
the
wisdom
wisdom,
that
it's
comes with
amazing,
age.
and it shows when the body reaches its limits, the intellect still grows till the last day. If you allow to do things right, till the last day, the intellect grows, and it fascinates me so much. And that's
Yeah,
why.
the beautiful thing is that, you know, emotional intelligence is an acquired skill. You can actually start developing it any
Developing,
time
yes,
in your
at
life.
any time of your life,
any
yes,
any
yes.
day you can actually start developing new skills, so you can have a
It's never
quality
too
of
late.
life that you want to have. So on that note, you know, to wrap it up, thank you to everyone who attended tonight and who listened to us. Thank you so much for your support. And if you have any new year resolutions, I would highly encourage you, if you're in Bergen County, come join. If you want to, you know, work on your physique, if you really want to work on to becoming stronger and developing stronger character to reach certain goals in life, and if you don't even know what you want, then you come to me. I have this program that I only run once a year, and it is very intense program in terms of setting up goals, learning time, how to manage this all, especially during COVID times when we're stuck at home and we all have so much on our plates. We have to do so much. How to prioritize, right?
So true.
Really important skills. How do I get to go work out, whether it's in the gym or, you know, virtual workout, because it is important. No matter how much work I have today, but important skills that we all need to have to really have a quality life, to really feel fulfilled and feel great. And so then we can have, you know, a glass of wine Friday night, you
So
know,
true.
without
Getting the
feeling
reward
bad.
of the hard work. Getting the reward of hard work.
Right.
Fitness, working out shouldn't be a punishment for what you ate yesterday, but it should
Yes.
be a hunting moment to earn what you're going to eat tomorrow. It
Exactly.
changes the mentality, changes the perspectives. Again, all goes back to perspectives.
It all goes back
Ksenia.
to perspective, and perspectives is philosophy.
Yes, yes, yes. Ksenia, my
So,
dear, I hope this will be saved and published
yes,
for
I
some
will
people
try to
who
save
want,
it
yeah.
right now before everyone goes. I don't want to press any buttons that
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
wouldn't
yeah, yeah.
allow me to save.
Please
So let me play
save.
with
I think we shared a lot of different
Yes.
new tips, and we uncovered. Hello. We
Yep.
uncovered
Yeah, you still.
so many different themes of emotional intelligence and the physical fitness, and I feel like this could be a very good beneficial 1 hour to dedicate to listen and to laugh with us a little bit while we're talking about these stuff.
Sure. Yeah, it all goes back to finding great teachers you can grow with. And Ozzy, you were one of my teachers that I grew with.
Oh, thank you so much, Ksenia. Thank you. It's a pleasure to hear
And
that.
you
And
know, my entire family, all of my children grow with you, and you've seen
oh
them
my
change.
God,
I've seen
yes.
them change. And it's amazing. It's a really great transformational process that is slow, but you can see the difference. And it makes me so proud that my children actually have great mentor
Oh,
that
it's so nice to hear
they
that.
can be with. And I think it is super important, especially for boys. I feel like boys need to have guys outside their families that they can grow with, you know, to
Well,
have
and
those men.
I grew up having my father as my coach, as my friend, and yet the influence of certain individuals who are outside of my family made a huge difference in my development. I
Up,
remember that. It's important. Certain things. It's you remember. I always say this, Ksenia. Whenever we talk about your kids, about my future kids, we always say it takes a village to raise a child.
absolutely.
It takes a village to raise a
So
child.
join
This
our
kind of
village.
communication.
Whoever is watching us, join our village. We'll be very happy to be with you on your journey,
Absolutely,
grow and
absolutely.
learn and develop. And have a great
Join our
every.
tribe.
Yeah.
Join our tribe.
Bye bye.
Ksenia, have a wonderful evening, my dear. It was
You
always
too.
a pleasure.
Yes.
This could be continued until the morning,
Oh, I
non-stop.
know.
Thank
I
God we
know.
have a
We'll do
time
another
limit.
one soon. Have a good night,
Yes,
Ozzy.
yes.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Let me save it now. Okay, so how do I save this now? Ta-da! We finished. Ta-da-da.
So, stop.